Welcome back, everyone, to the 50 Something Dasher channel. This is Joe, the 50 Something Dasher, with part 5 of my series on surviving stressful situations in the world of DoorDash driving. Part 5, I want to talk about when the customer changes the address on you. So, this can be a headache sometimes, depending on the situation. But you accept an offer, you go pick up the order, you're all set to deliver, and customer changes the address on you. Okay, that's just great. That's great. Okay, so here's my take on this, and my opinions and advice and what I do in these situations and all this good stuff. Okay, if I'd say the vast majority of the time that this has happened to me, it's really been no big deal. Luckily for me, most of these address changes, the new address that I'm going to is really not much farther than the original address. And sometimes it's only been a couple times where one common mistake is I've gotten an order that's going to a person's workplace, but they messed up. It was supposed to go to their home and not their workplace. And I've had a couple times where I've actually arrived at the workplace and oops, I'm sorry, is supposed to come home. I've got, like I said, I've gotten lucky in both of those examples. The customer was just maybe at most 2 or 3 miles away, and it was no big deal. I usually don't have a problem with that. I did have one order one time that was going to a medical, not a hospital, but medical doctor's offices, building. Okay. And I got to the location, and the customer messages me, and whoops, it's not those medical buildings, it's these other ones. And it was about maybe I want to say 8 miles away or something like that. Okay. And so I was okay with, at the time, with doing that. And I believe this was a catering order. But what you can do in those situations, if it's, like I said, if we're just talking 2 or 3 miles, I'm not really worried about it. It's no big deal. But if you're talking in this other example that was 8 miles away, I called DoorDash support in situations like that. And I basically say, hey, the customer changed the address. It's, adding on an additional such and such miles. Can I get additional pay for the increased mileage? And I've done that a couple times, probably 2-3 times, and each time DoorDash has added on a few dollars, $4 or $5 or whatever the case. So keep that in mind in those type of situations. Now, if it's further out than what you're willing to do, even for extra pay, you don't have to do those orders. If it's going to be too far. And the example I have for that type of situation, I was doing a Meijer shopping order, and everything was to be taking place in zone. And I was it was funny. I shop the items, and then I get like up to the checkout line. Like I'm just a couple feet away and the customer calls me and says that they got the wrong address in there. It's actually going to be, they actually need this to be delivered clear across town, to I believe it was like Reynoldsburg or Pickerington or something like that. I mean, we're talking like 12 to 15 miles away, whatever it was. And in that example, I was not, I was not interested in driving. I think it was at the end of my dash or whatever. I was not interested in driving clear across town to deliver that order. Now, I know from experience that I get shopping orders going out east, and some of them go north to, South Columbus and downtown Columbus and places like that. I know that my shopping orders never go that far out east. So I know that, like I said, from experience, that those customers, their shopping orders come from stores out in that area. I know that. So basically in this particular situation, I just advised the customer was cool with me and everything, and offered me they offered to pay me an additional tip if I was willing to drive out there. But I said, well, actually what I would recommend here, if I was you, I said I would just cancel the order. I'd cancel this order. I'd update the address, and because the customer didn't have that many items. This was just like a couple items shop, 2 or 3 items, whatever it was. I said I would just real quickly like replace the order and get a dasher out there in your area to like reshop this and deliver this. I really think that you're going to get the order faster by doing that and start this over again, rather than me, taking a half hour plus to drive out there. And plus you'll save the money. You won't have to, give the extra tip to the driver that you were willing to give me. It'll save you a little bit of money. And so the customer went ahead and canceled the order. So that's my advice on, address changes. Basically, to recap here, 3 different situations. There's, address changes where it's only a mile or 2 difference, and I just go ahead and do it, no big deal. A medium type of distance, 5 to 8 miles or whatever, I'll do it, but I'll call DoorDash support and try to get extra pay for it. And longer distances that I'm not willing to do, like I said, either have the customer cancel it if they're willing to do that. That's the easiest option or whatever, or just contact DoorDash support and try to explain the situation, have them take you off of it, or just, drop the order. If your completion rate is high enough and you can afford to just like drop the order, worst case scenario, you could always do that. I've been really fortunate in my 2+ years. I haven't had to do that. I haven't had to drop an order because of a address change. But anyway, that's it for this video. Hope my experiences and advice, for whatever it's worth, hopefully it helps in some way, this video and the other videos in the series. Thanks so much for watching. As always, be sure to drive safe out there, and we will catch you next time. Thanks again.